Hello, my name is Annalie Bracken and I'm giving a persuasive speech on whether or not high school and college student athletes should be drug tested. The reason for selecting athletes instead of all students is that the case can be made that they can sustain traumatic injuries while playing the sport that they're involved in, and I believe that they should be drug tested, but I believe the results should be kept private, and coaches and assistant coaches and managers and just all of the football team staff or whatever sport they play should be persuaded into being drug tested to be role models. The most common drug abused among college students is marijuana. In a survey taken in 2014 by the NCAA among student athletes, self-reported abuse of marijuana is much lower than the rates reported in 2012. Monitoring the Future survey for high school student athletes said that only 22% of student athletes knew where to get the drugs. And the past month use of marijuana remains steady among junior varsity athletes at 7%. And close to 6% of senior athletes said the drug was easy to get, and there was a drop in availability in 2014, which is good. However, the major drug problem in student athletes is not marijuana, but steroids and some similar performance-enhancing drugs. Jason Smith, a former lineman from Brigham Young University, told a local newspaper that steroids and other performance-enhancing drugs were common in Division I football. He said that over the course of his 5 years, he has concrete proof of 15 people on his football team that were using steroids. And he says he suspects other schools are much worse. Some colleges have a strict no steroids policy. However, others are not as strict and they don't drug test as much. The use of steroids is prevalent in high school athletes. If you watch Friday Night Lights like I do, maybe you saw the storyline of the very first season when Brian Smash Williams, the star running back for the Dillon Panthers, was told by a recruiter that he was going to be stronger if he expected to play Division I football. In an act of desperation, Smash turned to steroids. He became irritable, angry, and frustrated. This is just one of the many examples in high school athletes. In 2002, the National Institute of Drug Abuse study said that 3% of 8th graders, 3% of 10th graders, and 4% of 12th graders admitted to using steroids at some time. In some ways, high schools are like colleges. Some have a very strict no steroids policy, while others don't even test as often. Even though I believe student athletes should be drug tested, there are a few exceptions I would make to this rule. For example, an athlete with ADD or ADHD or other disorders or diseases should be able to take legal prescription medications without being punished for taking them. And drug testing only athletes should not be fair. It's not fair. All students in colleges and high schools should have to be drug tested. And most people ask, what do colleges do whenever a student athlete has a drug test that comes back positive? Well, the penalty for a positive drug test for both performance-enhancing drugs such as steroids and strict drugs such as marijuana is strict. Student athletes lose 1 full year of eligibility for 1 positive drug test, and for 2 positive drug tests, they lose 2 years of eligibility. The episode of Friday Night Lights that I mentioned earlier comes into effect again when talking about the punishment for high school students on drugs. When Smash's mom found out he was using steroids, she approached his football coach, Coach Taylor, who struggled with how to punish Smash. In the end, Smash missed some important games and had to regain the trust of the most important people in his life. This is similar punishment in public high schools in the state of Mississippi. The law for positive drug tests for a student athlete in a public school in Mississippi can be suspension for one positive drug test and expulsion from school for another positive drug test in the same year. I believe that athletes should be drug tested due to the health risks they take when they get out on the court and the field every day. And if they play a sport while they are on drugs, it can result to serious damage.